Welcome back to the Fulfilled Female Entrepreneur Podcast. It's your host, Cassandra Rosa. I'm a certified coach and healer and intuitive business coach, and the mission behind all that I do is to help you to create a fulfilling life and business. I'm so excited to have Courtney Koenig on the podcast today. She's going to be talking about utilizing human design in business. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm so excited to have Courtney here today to talk about human design, business, how you can utilize this powerful tool to connect with your gifts. So I first want to thank you so much, Courtney, for coming on today. I'm so excited to kind of make the switch and interview you and learn more about your story. And the reason I say that, listeners, is because we just recorded an episode for her podcast. So we're going to leave a link in the show notes so you can go and check that out.
Great. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. I can't wait.
Yes. And I want to open up the floor for you to introduce yourself to the listeners.
Yeah, so I'm Courtney Koenig. I am a master mindset coach and really helping bosses, business entrepreneurs, and executives to step into their unique gifts and their powers, to have that profit and that purpose and that peace that really lines them up for success in their life and business.
It's such a potent mission, and I absolutely love that. And I want to learn more about how human design is a part of this process for you and your clients.
Yeah, I found human design a few years ago now, and I did this a human design experiment on myself because I thought, okay, this sounds kind of even woo woo for me, and I love good stuff like that. And so as I did it, I did it about over 4 months. And afterwards, I felt so much more freedom and validation. I think we talked about this on my podcast too, is like cheering myself on in a way that was so much more intentional and validating to my soul. So I really saw myself for probably the first time clearly ever. And recognize what gifts I have to bring to the table. And that's what human design does. It shares with us the gifts that we were born with. I believe that we were born amazing, wonderful people, and throughout life, we forget that. And this is a way to recenter that and to ground us in the great gifts that we were born with.
I love that. I love how you've taken this approach because I've heard about human design so many different times. I've had, someone come and talk about it on the podcast as well. But it's beautiful to see how, as you explain it, you're really highlighting the gifts that we have within us as we do human design. And for those that are listening and they're like, what is human design? I've never heard about this tool before. How would you also explain it to people in which, when they're looking at their chart, as they're bringing forth their chart? Yeah. What would you say to them?
Yeah. So it's basically, we can kind of think about it like a energetic personality test, but it goes far beyond any personality test you've ever taken, because a personality test is usually like, it boxes you into this certain thing, whereas human design is more of a puzzle, right? And with a puzzle, we're putting all these different pieces in place and then we get a full picture. Well, each person is like their own individual picture, their own individual puzzle system, because human design tells us like how we operate best, how we make decisions best, what things that we need to watch out for, what feelings we need to watch out for, how we make things happen. And those are all, and it goes throughout all these other details. And so we really can put together each individual chart as like their own person's puzzle and blueprint for how they show up in the world the best. And it's just it kind of blows the box apart, like there is no box. It's like, this is you, and that feeling of, oh, alignment can really help us to get in the fast lane of how we make things happen the best, without resistance, and with looking at the fears that come up, because we're humans, right? Fears and resistance always comes up, but it helps us, give us a toolkit in order to be able to move through those and pass those and accelerate to our hopes and our goals and our dreams.
I love the way that you explain that, of it being a puzzle. You're not being put in a box, that there's so many different ways to go about it. And I think learning about human design and seeing it even for my clients and people that, I'm always curious to see what their human design is. There's never like two exact same charts, which I think is so beautiful. And so you get all these beautiful takeaways from this. You get all of these beautiful ahas that come from it. But how do people discover that when looking at their unique charts?
Well, the first place to start, because there are so many layers, it can be overwhelming. When I first pulled my chart, um, I was like, what is this? It doesn't even tell me anything. So when you go onto my website, and I think we'll have that in the show notes, how to get your human design chart, I give you clues about where to start. But when you're pulled your chart from my site, you'll notice the type, and that's the first place to start is the human design type. And in human design, there are 5 types. And these types give us indicators and clues of how, what our gifts are, how we operate best, what maybe are some challenges and some red flags or some ways that we can support ourselves even more. So it gives us ability to see um, that from an operational standpoint of, okay, I'm going to start with my type. And that's always where I say, start first with your type, and then we'll go from there, you know?
Yeah, that's really important. And, even understanding your type and being able to look at all these different human design books or like Googling it just to start to um, open up your eyes to what it means. Like for me, I'm a manifester and Courtney's a projector. So even to know the name of your type as you're scrolling through Instagram, you know how your algorithms work. If you engage with one post, how that becomes your whole feed. You'll learn about yourself that way. And that's how I've learned a lot about human design outside of just seeing my chart. Because when you look at it, you're like, what does this even mean? Right? Unless you're a professional that understands it, you might not understand the vastness and the potency and the big takeaways that you shared. But I think opening yourself up that way to even know what your type is such a beautiful way to be a catalyst for it. And I know
Totally.
you've kind of spoken to how understanding this tool allowed yourself to, have clarity within and have an understanding of yourself and fully see yourself after using it for 4 months. Do you want to speak a little bit to why you think it created that sort of breakthrough for you?
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed as I was so judgmental on myself forever. Like I don't remember a time, probably when I was a child, and I was just playful and enjoying the true essence of very being. But and with all of us too, we go throughout our lives and we pick up on conditions, right? We pick up on judgment and then we start judging ourselves. And every single one of us has a judge character in our head that's like, hey, you messed up on this, or you didn't do this right, or you need to be perfect at this, or you're not working hard enough, all these judgmental things. And so, what human design started it for me is this new conversation, this new story in my head that, you know what, I'm a projector, like you were mentioning, and you and I both do not have energy all the time like an energizer bunny. We have more energy that goes in ebbs and flows. And so I have always had noticed I've always had this ebb and flow of energy, but I thought, oh, you just need to work through it. What's wrong with you type of thing. And so when I realized, hey, I have a need, and this need is to take a nap in the afternoon. I have a need to, not be on all the time. And so when I said, you know what, that's a need of myself, when I tell myself, you don't deserve to have that, what story does that give to my soul? That's messed up. And so I started giving myself permission to take a nap and be okay with it. I started giving myself permission to have alone time and be okay with that. And so it started. And then once I was doing those little pieces, I was like, gosh, I feel so much happier. Like my weight on my shoulders is much more released. I don't have this cloud of judgment within my soul. And so that's one of the number one things that human design has helped me and has helped my clients too, is like them to release their judgment on themselves and to recognize, like, I don't have to be quite a perfectionistic person in this way, or I don't have to push myself in this way, because I know that this is what my body needs and this is what my soul needs. So I can answer that with a yes instead of saying, you suck, that type of thing.
How liberating, to give yourself permission to have that understanding and validation of who you are and being able to live in alignment with yourself. That's so powerful.
Yes. Yeah.
And for people that are spiritual entrepreneurs that are listening to this, how can human design transform their business, and how has it helped you with your business and your clients' businesses as well?
Yeah, that's what I love. I love helping women to see that they can take these gifts and apply it to their business and have success faster with more ease, and really hone in on that. So I always look at your human design type when we're honing in on like, how can I apply this to my business? Um, I look at the gifts that each human design type was born with, you know? So like as a generator's great gifts is this dynamic energy, and they're really magnetic when they're in this like go, go, go energy. And then the more that they are open with that, the more that they draw people towards them just energetically, in a way. They make this thing just really flow towards them, So I'm like, okay, just show off your energy, show off your passion, show off what's lighting you up. That's a clue that will help other expand your business easily, Um, and then I'm like, if you're a manifesting generator, you have this manifesting side where it's just this urge to move forward, to move in a certain direction, but with this go, go, go energy, and they can be a pioneer in their own field. And so I'm like, give yourself permission to be a pioneer. A pioneer is innovative. A pioneer is a leader, allow yourself to show up in that way. And so they start to automatically make things happen. And now you as a manifester, you have this leadership and this innovative power as well, and so you're going to see the world in a different way. And so give yourself that trust that that inner knowing way to go, and that even though people don't get it, they're gonna get it, because you're gonna be like, look at this innovative way to do things and to go in that direction, Me as a projector, one of my gifts, and that I help my clients with too, is I'm like, you can see what moves the needle forward in just like a few easy steps. So you don't have to overthink things. You don't have to overcomplicate things. Just use that zoomed out perspective and be like, you know what? We can do this and this and this, and we're done, and then reflectors are really, this is the last human design type. Reflectors are really good connecting with other people. They have this unique perspective because they're so connected to other people that they can take that perspective and utilize it from a business vantage point. Businesses are all about connection, and they're really good at that. So putting themselves together with others and hearing people and seeing that unsaid conversation that people aren't vocalizing can help them to move their business forward. So there's all these little nuances that just make it so exciting and so forward thinking.
Yes. No, I love how you unpacked, the key gifts of each of these beautiful human design types, because I think sometimes the most subtle understanding and awareness of yourself, and having that awareness can be the first step to allow you to validate yourself and give yourself permission to be you more fully in your essence, in natural flow of who you are. Because I think sometimes, especially in business, not knowing the human design types of all these different leaders, they might
Mhm.
be doing things their way, and they might have a unique process that might not fit for you fully in what it is that you are. So, what I love and the biggest takeaway I'm taking from the conversation that you and I had on your podcast and here is, understanding your uniqueness, your gifts, and being, you know, giving yourself permission to be that fully without
Mhm.
judgment, and to carve your own lane and your own process based on what's the path of least resistance for you. Is there anything
Yeah.
that you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think so oftentimes we have this like um idea that things need to be hard, you know? Oh, I need to work really hard and get this. I need to do things. And so in our if it's easy, or if it's with ease, um we tend to think, oh, am I doing it right, or and it really is finding that ease, a pathway. I always think about like a highway, right? I'm getting my clients on this open highway, no traffic is on there, pedal to the metal. They can go and go and go. And it's joyful, right? When there's no one around and you can just speed and go and have fun. That's what is, and that's what our businesses should be, you know? And that's what my business is. Like I wake up every day and I'm like, I can't believe I get to do this. This is so cool. I can't believe people pay me. You know, it's so amazing to me. And it's always coming back to this story of I trust in myself. I trust in the gifts that I was born with. I trust this inner knowing. I trust in the pathway that I'm going. I almost put blinders on to what everybody else is doing because what everybody else is doing is not necessarily right for me. You know, I could try to do what they do and it's not going to turn out like I think it is. And so I'm just like, you know what? I'm in my lane. We're going down the freeway. It's with ease and it's with joy.
I love that. I think it's super clear the benefits of this. I feel like, me listening to this as a listener and someone that is being taught by you about this, it's really clear to understand that when you create this space for all of these things to unfold and you take on this beautiful tool, it helps with your own personal transformation, which is also going to help with your business transformation and to step into your uniqueness as you show up in a powerful way. So if someone's never done human design before and they're listening and they're like, you know what, I want to try this on, what would be like their step by step from people finding out their chart to being able to take an understanding from each of the key elements of it, if you could explain it in a methodical way?
Yeah, totally. So the first step is to, even if you've pulled your chart from somewhere else, go pull it on my site, and we'll have that, I think, in the show notes.
Yes.
Um, and on there, when you get the printout, like you saw, like I have underneath, like what your type is, I have a little blurb about what that definition is. Because again, when I saw this gap, I was like, okay, I pulled my chart, but that is, I don't know. Now what do I do? You know? So it has like these definitions behind like your type, your profile, strategy to give you clues about what to do next and to give you some steps to, I hate being overwhelmed and I hate other people feeling overwhelmed. But human design can be overwhelming, but this breaks it down really nicely. And it's like, okay, this is me. So if this is me, this is what I'm going to intentionally do next, you know? And then on there, I have a peace and power workbook that shows what you can start to do to align even more with your actions with your human design type. So just really like experiment with it and have fun with it too. That's what I tell people. I'm like, let's not take it so seriously that like I just don't think there's a whole lot in life that we need to take seriously besides like life and death matters, you know? But like let's just play and have fun. So I really honor this experiment with yourself. See if this resonates. See what this does for your life.
I love that, and I love the way that you bring forth people's charts because, like you said, I can really see how you filled in the gaps. So, if there's some key areas when people are looking at their chart, I know the type is important. I know the defined centers, the undefined centers, stuff like that. Do you want to highlight the key areas that people should focus on if they want to dive deeper into their human design chart, so that way they can understand these deeper parts of themselves and their gifts and being able to embody this and take them forward when it comes to their life and their business?
Yeah, totally. I would say so. After your human design type, I would definitely look at your strategy. Your strategy is how you make things happen. And each human design type has their own strategy of how they make things happen. And especially this relates in business too, because we think there's only one way to make things happen, you know, and there's only one way to get things done. And I think, no, no, no. Actually, it's so simple. For you as a manifester, you make things happen by communicating. So, like, if you think about, like, I love this question, which I ask my clients this all the time. If you know you have this gift, you know, fill in the blank, or this way you operate, what can you do to utilize that in your business more? You know, what can you do to utilize that? So, when I look at my strategy, is to be invited, which sounds kind of crazy. Like, what kind of strategy is that? But it basically means that I create relationships. And when I create relationships, then we can have collaborations, then we can have things like that. And I look at you and I as an example, right? Like I was looking for podcast guests. And so we met and we totally vibed. So I'm like, come on my podcast. And then you're like, hey, come on my podcast, right? So this is all how I make things happen. And it's just so fun. So really definitely look at the strategy as a key indicator of like how you can make things happen. And then also too, look at the not self theme. That's another big one to align with. Not self theme is a feeling of when things are off. So it's a road mark or sign that's like, hey, something is off. If you're feeling this, fill in the blank, it says it on your chart, then something's off. Well, then from there, instead of just muscling through it or just dealing with it, we can say, hey, if it's something's off, what's off? What's off in my business? What's off in my personal life? What do I need to change in order to fix this? I don't need to just live in frustration or bitterness or whatever. I can actually change and I have power to do so. So those are really good, the next levels that I would go down and drill down into.
I love that. I think that that's also a beautiful awareness piece to understand, hey, this is where you have to get in alignment, if you're
Yeah.
not being yourself, and understanding what's the path of least resistance and the way that you can bring that forth in your business, right? Like communication is my superpower when it comes to business. I think that's why I really
Mhm.
love podcasting, right? And that invitation thing for you, I think that that's such a powerful thing to understand. And that's exactly how, this conversation came to be. So I love that you highlighted that. So with that being said, if they're listening and they're like, yes, I want to have Courtney in my corner to help me with my life and my business, what's the best ways that they can connect with you?
Yeah, so best ways are to go onto my site and get your human design chart. I really want you to have knowledge and power and those tools. You can pull that, you can get my workbook. I also love to live on Instagram and do lots of education and fun interaction over there.
Amazing. And I also want to highlight our beautiful conversation. We're going to leave a link in the show notes so you can go and check out that little interview that we did. And she kind of unpacked my human design. So it was very interesting to see it real time. And I think that that would be a good example for all of you as well to see how, she brought certain things to light and how validating that can truly be. Anything
Yeah.
else you want to share before we wrap up today, Courtney?
No, this was so great. Thank you so much for having me on. And when we did your human design reading, it was so neat to see the messages that came through. I oftentimes, when I pull different parts of people's chart, it just calls to me, and speaks to me. And it was so neat to hear the stories align with those messages from your chart and that validation and that freedom that you are on the right path and you're doing the right thing and you're an amazing human. And so I'm so glad we connected.
Thank you so much for those kind words, Courtney. And go and connect with her. You're going to see in the show notes or the link description of this video. Go and connect with Courtney. Thank you again for being here, and thank you all for listening. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I'll upload a new video on Thursday. See you in the next one. Bye.